Welcome to this comments video. Haven't made one for a while, so we do have some very interesting comments to get to. We have some very, shall we say, different-minded folks commenting this time. Some very confrontational folks. So that'll come towards the end. But for right now, our old friend, the quantum grammar tutor, left this little nugget for us to look at. This is someone who claims to be a tutor, folks. All right? And if this person is passing themselves off as a quantum grammar tutor, and they feel that what they teach is correct, why would they write David-WYNN Miller's name like that? That's the first thing that my eye went to, was this, besides the particle of negation and purpose. Why would they write his name like this? Well, I can tell you why. Because they don't have closure on the grammar. They're probably at least 50% there, but who knows if they know how to syntax or not. But let's break this down. I took and copy and pasted this into a Word document so we can do our own forensics on it. All right, so they choose to write their facts in all caps, which is fine. Right? I've seen David-WYNN Miller write like this sometimes. Other times he uses all caps. For me, it's just a stylistic thing. So we do have the particle of negation in PUR. So I'll point that out. So they're saying that the purpose. Now, I wouldn't use the word purpose. Someone who's serious about correct sentence structure is going to look up every single word, every single particle, and credential whether or not it's negative. And then stand by that, because with correct sentence structure, communication, parse, syntax, grammar, 1 and 1 is 1. So it either is positive performance or negative performance. PUR is negative. And so what you would do is you would go into a thesaurus and you would look up the word purpose and you would find some positive performance synonyms for that. One simple synonym for purpose would be function. How easy is that? Okay? So I'm tutoring the quantum grammar tutor here. So they're saying that the purpose of correct sentence structure is to put on trial, to put grammar on trial. Okay? With the forensic evidence by the claimant. Again, why even use the word evidence? I mean, you can if you want to, that's all well and fine, but why wouldn't you look that up in a thesaurus and find a comparable synonym to make it easier on the eye for the folks reading this that don't know anything about it? But I mean, I'm not going to nitpick that. I'm just saying, why wouldn't you do that if you're trying to streamline your grammar? So let's read it backwards. For the claimant of the forensic evidence is with the grammar of the trial, with the performance by the purpose. Okay. That sounds grand, right? It's so grandiose, sounds so like, yeah, let's get behind it. Let's put the grammar on trial. Okay, folks. Allow me to ever so gently bring you back down to earth. And you also, Quantum Grammar Tutor, since you're here in my house, on my channel, a guest aboard my vessel, my gift to you this Christmas is a little correct sentence structure learning, a little knowledge cultivation. Why can't grammar be put on trial? Because grammar cannot be sanctioned. Grammar is not a living, breathing entity. A grammar is not a live claimant. A grammar cannot be held accountable for anything. A grammar is just an instrument, a tool of communication. And if that communication is shown to be fraudulent with malicious volition, then the individual who created that grammar, who authorized that grammar, who is the author of that grammar, or is using that, they would be sanctioned, not the grammar. The grammar is not put on trial, bro. Think about it. If someone stabs someone until they're not breathing anymore and that person passes away, do they put the knife on trial? Or do they put the person who was wielding the knife on trial? All right, next. This. What is this? And I'm not going to be gentle about this. This is just complete ignorance. And I do take this seriously because David-WYNN Miller, I have much honor and grace and respect for David-WYNN Miller. And the correct way to write his name would be like this. That is the correct way to write his name. And if your keyboard allows you, you would put the degree symbol after the second N in win. There would be a space between this colon and the M because it's for the David-Wynn of the Miller, period. And then, of course, if you were to write David-Wynn Miller's message, the correct way to write it would be like this. The reason why David's name is all capped is because he is no longer with us. I hate to break it to you, Quantum Grammar Tutor. David passed away on the summer solstice of 2018. I don't know if you were studying back then or not, but I had been for over a year. And I had been in contact with David himself for over a year. So, there you go. Merry Christmas. Now we're going to come to a series of comments from someone named Don John Swaggart, who was literally flooding my comments field for a very long time with chapter-length comments. And then I began responding a bit bluntly to them, saying, you know, pretty much just trying to get them to think, like, why are you spending and investing so much now space in this comments field when you could be actually taking classes and learning this? You know, you could actually be doing something productive. I'm not saying that leaving comments in my comments field is not productive, but as far as learning correct sentence structure, I'm a brass tacks guy, man. If you want to learn it, let's go. Bring it. Email me, jasonmatthewg17@gmail.com. I'll set up a 10 to 15 minute video consultation to see if you're serious, because I'm all about investing time and now space and continuum into folks that are serious about learning this. But I don't get those vibes from this guy because he just likes to write comments in comments fields, which I also appreciate. So let's look at some of these things. They say one of the great teachers from the days of old would put a stone in his mouth. When asked why he puts a stone in his mouth, he answered, saying so that before he speaks, he would give himself a chance to think about what he would say, where if you just began speaking without thinking, he may bite the stone. Well, I guess if it's a little stone, you can just speak and you can move the stone around and you're not going to bite it. But if you put a big ass stone in your mouth, then you're not going to be able to talk at all. So I don't know how great this teacher is or even who the teacher is. And I did ask Don John Swagger, who's this teacher? And of course, no reply. And then they say, perhaps if one would make this term creator into a fact, that could be one thing. Perhaps instead of saying one created one, could say that one acquired the deed of writing a such and such, or one acquired the deed of breaking of the window, or one acquired the deed. And this whole thing about acquiring, I mean, that's a no contract word, so why would you even say that or even use that? But as this individual is communicating in adverb, verb, adjective, pronoun, fiction, babble, using a fictitious conveyance of grammar to convey their thoughts, in a correct sentence structure, communication, parsing, syntax, grammar, venue, what do you expect? They don't have a clue. So my kuleana was, perhaps if one invested the effort into learning correct sentence structure, one would not be so ensconced in the fiction mentality. It's up to Don John if he wants to learn that or not. In this comment, Don John says, how in the hell could one keep the grammar safe? By only showing flawed grammar. At any rate, if we have the rules set down, then all it takes is a bit of time in the practice of usage and Viola exclamation point. Is that all it takes, Don John? Then why aren't you there yet? There's over 1,000 videos on this channel that you could study to learn this, and I haven't seen one bit of progress from you, bro. So, if it was that easy, everybody would do it. But as it stands, in my 7+ years of teaching this, I have only about a dozen or so folks who are proficient enough at this grammar to be able to actually use it in a safe manner out there in the public. 7+ years, hundreds of students. Okay? And then Don John says, the county coroner as well as the sheriff of a county act in many places as the same position, sheriff/coroner. I think they mean coroner of a county, whereas the sheriff coroner of the county is acting count of the region. Whatever floats your boat, bro. And in this one, Don John says, I beg to differ, my friend. I love it when folks do that. That's, to me, if I read that, it says, I beg to differ, my friend, meaning they disagree with me. Now they're calling me friend because they're trying to soften what they're about to say. It's what I call a pre-qualifier. Because Don John and I ain't friends. A friend to me is someone I know and I have a trust account with. I don't know this individual from anywhere. And they have zero trust on my part because I don't know them. Anyways, it's a subtle, manipulative, psychological ploy by my experience, my knowledge. The common law does not rely upon case law, which is blah, blah, blah. The common law simply relies upon, number one, the actual fact, not the presumption of law, fiction. Number two, upon the lodial ownership of property in dispute and is held in the English language in the present tense. Okay. So in the domain of actual fact, as it relates to correct sentence structure, there is no fact without a positional and a lodial. Number two, upon the lodial ownership of property. For me, the mere concept of owning land or owning anything like that is repugnant. Okay? That's fiction mentality. The government can come in and eminent domain your land if they want to and kick you off. It doesn't matter whether you use common law or even correct sentence structure, probably, for that matter. Although you would have a better chance of stopping that trespass if you do so in a timely manner and you do so in a correct manner than you would if you would use common law. But the reason they can do that is because they have the bigger guns and clubs. Might makes right. It's that simple. Common law is not going to stop that. Once one evokes the common law, but then tanks their documentations with a judica from court cases that are not in particular appeals court cases. Okay, so this individual is just really rooted in the fiction. Originates from the maxims of law. What in the hell is the maxims of law and where did it come from? It was created by men, right? using adverb, verb, adjective, pronoun. So you're still in the fiction, Don John. Still in the fiction. Excuse your babbling. No, there is no excuse for your babbling, bro. And I'm glad you stopped. Thank you for stopping. And in this one, Don John says, please excuse my fiction Bible. Thank you, Jason, for the open source material. I'm not sure of many really contemplate what you're giving us here. I'm not really sure that this individual has a grasp on plain simple English after reading that. But my Kuliana was, a fiction Bible hits different than a non-fiction Bible for sure. It's a joke, folks. There is no such thing as a non-fiction Bible. Ha! Lone Rangers 777 says, man, what a crock this world is. I think the world is very real. You know, it exists. It's here. And the only crock comes from a lack of knowledge there, Lone Ranger. So you just got to put forth a little effort, a little studying, a little learning. Get you some learning, and you'll be able to see through charlatans like Mark Lowercase Gay or other well-known charlatans out there in the public that pretend or present a facade that they're teaching correct sentence structure, when really they don't teach any of that at all. And if they do, show me a video. Show me some recent videos in the last year where Russell J. Gould has actually taught grammar in a seminar or in a video on his channel or anyone else's channel or in a podcast where he's actually went in depth on grammar. Why don't you see it? My guess is he can't do it. Next comment comes from Jamie Santa. And they say, nope, Jesus has, though. Oh, this is an individual who, okay, well, let me just read through the comment. I said, nope, what? Are you one of those folks who've let Jesus inside you? And then Jamie says, which Jesus? There's evidence of one being an imposter, blah, 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 blah. And then they go into this. I think they were going to say demagogue. Unfortunately, I didn't save the whole comment. But this individual definitely has come here not to learn correct sentence structure, but to preach about their ideology of the mythical character of Jesus. And I said, I have no idea what we are trying to do, and I have no interest in cultivating presumptions regarding history. Why? Because none of it can be proven as fact unless you are actually there witnessing it. It's called continuance of evidence, and if you want to learn about facts and correct grammar, you're welcome to study the 1,000 plus free videos here, or get serious and contact me to apply for a workshop. Otherwise, best wishes. And that's how I left it. I mean, because they were trying to go into all this stuff about what's the real Jesus and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, so you're given a choice of the Wizard of Earthsea, the Lord of the Rings, the Chronicles of Narnia, the Chronicles of Thomas Covenant, the Unbeliever, the Shannara Saga. You're given those choices, an Elf Quest, whatever, I don't know, I can think of a lot of other ones. And you got to pick one of those that you want to believe. So, okay, I'll pick the Lord of the Rings. That's kind of like what they're saying about Jesus. They're all mythical and fictional, but we'll just pick one, and that's the one we'll go with. That's pretty much the way I look at it. Ted Berry Combo says, being very new to this technology, I answered incorrectly. Not really incorrect, just didn't answer the correct one. Well, if you didn't answer the correct one, then you weren't correct. Not knowing about Lodials, positionals, phrases, I chose what was the obvious to me. Oh, okay, I see what this individual is saying. Because the quiz that I posted right there all of the answers, I think, were correct, but there was just one that was in totality correct. So in relation to all the other ones were incorrect with that one. But if that one would have been taken out, then any one of the other ones would have been correct, because there were a lot of mistakes in that sentence. For the bridge is over the water, for the water is under the bridge. I hope you're well, Jason, and thank you for your teachings. You're very welcome, and much gratitude and thankfulness for your membership and for your viewership and for commenting. I just started watching videos randomly. Where's the best place? Is mini class playlists, are they in order? Thanks. Yeah, the mini class playlist is a great place to start. There's also the syntax playlist, the PARSE playlist, the correct sentence structure playlist, the psychology playlist, the psyche playlist, you know, all types of playlists for you. And since you're a member, you have access to videos that the public don't have access to, so there's extra knowledge cultivation material there available to you. The best place to start is wherever you land, man. If you want me to be your guide, then you can contact me, jasonmatthewg17@gmail.com, and you can apply for workshops. And I do have a set curriculum that will take you from point A to B to C to D to wherever you're motivated to go. There is a curriculum just like walking into a classroom, only it's just you and me there. So if you want me to be your guide and tell you where to start and where to go and guide you, you got to email me. Otherwise, it's all up to you. It's all, the material's all here. It's just up to you to do your own work. Thank you. So this individual, Task and Force 116, whomever they are, got all up in their feelings about the Mark lowercase k Kishon Christopher posts that I made. And this is what they had to say. You talk about things you do not understand. How do they know I don't understand? Because they're butthurt. Why would you even get on here and talk like you do? Because I've been doing it for 7+ years. Why would you get on here and talk like you do? You're in my house. This is my vessel. Why would you come on here and think you can talk any way you want to? This YouTube thing is a public place. I can talk however I want to here. But this particular location in YouTube is my place. And there are terms and conditions and community guidelines here. And you would do best to honor them. If you're an honorable person. If not, then I can understand why you would act the way you would. You don't have firsthand knowledge of really anything you're saying. Yes, I do, because it's firsthand knowledge of the evidence presented to me, and also firsthand knowledge of Mark lowercase k Kishon Christopher from when I was in contact with him in 2017 and 2018. I got to know the guy, okay? We weren't writing that in Parse syntax grammar. No shit, because you don't know it. You don't have the first clue about correct sentence structure. So this individual was involved with the planned kidnapping, torturing, and perhaps unaliving of the coroner over there. So this person was involved in a kidnapping and unaliving plot. Very interesting. Maybe you should just admit there are some things you don't know. Well, that's easy. I admit that all the time. There's lots of stuff I don't know. I have no problem with that. If you don't have the facts or you don't have the first-hand knowledge, you are under presumption and assumption. Kind of like you are right now. Very unkind of you, really, to put that picture up like you did. Aww. Aww. If I had a Kleenex box, I might send it to you. Maybe I could start a fund for you. Start a little piggy bank. Buy you some Kleenexes there, huh? Yeah. My gift to you this Christmas. You're just doing it for views. Well, I mean, yeah, that's part of the reason. What are you educating people about? Correct sentence structure, communication, Parse, syntax, grammar. All you're doing is bashing, judging, and speaking out on things you have no idea about. Is that right? I have no idea that Mark lowercase k Christopher got thrown in jail. He's been in jail for a year now, and he's got 7 more years to go. So I don't know nothing about that. That's not true? Is that what you're saying? If that's not true, if he's not in prison right now, and if he hasn't been sentenced, for 7 years for attempted kidnapping, conspiracy and all that stuff, then okay, I'll stop and correct. Let me know. Maybe educate yourself so you don't have to ask yourself so many questions. What questions am I asking myself? I don't remember asking myself questions. Or maybe talk to someone who has the facts on this first-hand knowledge. I wouldn't trust anyone that comes from your neck of the woods involved with that guy, Mark lowercase k, as far as I could throw him. And I'm not weak. I mean, I still got some get up and go here, but I wouldn't trust anyone like you as far as I could throw you. You don't realize, and I can see that, but you are causing harm. What harm am I causing? Harm to your fragile ego? Because if that's the harm I'm causing, I can live with that. Because guess what? If me publishing a video showing that Mark lowercase k Christopher has no correct sentence structure knowledge, but yet he uses the correct sentence structure flag, he uses :David-WYNN: Miller's name, and all that stuff, then that's a landmine that I'm warning people about. That's something that I'm telling people, be very careful if you're going to get involved with people like Mark Christopher or people like Task and Force 116, because they don't know jack shit about correct sentence structure. In their next comment, they say, and let's make no mistake that no one in this chat knows firsthand knowledge how it went down, why it went down, and what the purpose was. Well, wait a minute. You're in this chat, so that's a lie. Our experts have determined that that is a lie, because supposedly Task and Force has firsthand knowledge of it, right? That's what they're alluding to. So that's a lie. You're in the chat, and you know about it. Don't this guy's annoying, don't even believe anything. Don't this guy's annoying, don't even believe anything. He says he does it for views and he's doing it for attention. Views, maybe, that's part of it, but attention, I mean, is that another way of saying trying to get views? Because if so, then that's part of it, of course, because I'm on YouTube, right? And in order to promote correct sentence structure, views are important, attention is important. So very savvy on your part, Task and Force. Even though you think I'm annoying, why are you here? And by the way, belief is a particle of negation. BE means no love. Like behead, no head. Believe means no love. That's a little knowledge cultivation from me to you, Task and Force. Another Christmas present for you. He has no facts and he was not there. He has no first-hand knowledge about what was written. Yeah, I do, because I saw the papers. I saw the paper. I saw all the bullshit written in the papers having to do with cattle prods and kidnapping and possible corporal punishment or capital punishment. I read it. And just a little tidbit on the DL, Task and Force. I do know people over in your neck of the woods who personally know people involved in that case, who are right now in communication with people involved in that case. People that I'm communicating with, folks over there that I trust. So I do know people, okay? I just don't flaunt it. But I'm going to say it here in response to you. This man does not deal in facts. He deals himself in presumption or assumption, which is a more oxymoron in his part. Dude, settle yourself down. Like I said, you're doing harm. Well, okay, let me settle myself down here. All right. This man deals with correct sentence structure, communication, parsing, syntax, grammar. And by extension, this man also does his best to make people aware of folks out there pretending to know correct sentence structure or have some sort of authority with correct sentence structure, warning other folks that no, these people actually don't know correct sentence structure, and providing a continuance of evidence, such as the document this individual talks about, and other things that Mark Cauchon Christopher has done. Whatever Mark Cauchon Christopher has done or hasn't done, he's never syntaxed a document with correctness or written a correct sentence structure, communication, parse, syntax, grammar, document, contract, postal vessel, court, venue. That I would stake the house on. And as far as task and force 116 goes, well, I mean, they're welcome to come back and comment some more. You can tell that they got really upset about this. And I actually find it quite comical. So actually, maybe I will publish whatever they say, because it's really fun for me to watch people like this dig themselves a hole. Because it's of their own volition, folks. I mean, they want to dig the hole. They have the shovel and everything. I'm just giving them the space to do it. So let's end this on a positive comment. And this comment says, just curious, was the amount of people in your home that you allowed during the medical emergency on your domicile contract that you filed with police the same as the mandates? And did you require masks? Curious for comparison purposes. Okay, so what they're talking about is back during the medical emergency that everybody was freaking out about a few years ago. You know, there was mandates handed down where you could only have, what was it, 6 or 9 people in your house for Thanksgiving, and you had to wear masks and all this bullshit, and 6 feet apart and whatever. So that's what they're talking about here. So as I responded in the comments, the answer to both those questions is no. I created the domicile contract. As far as I know, no one else had a domicile contract until I created one, and then all of a sudden the Purple Thumb community started selling them after they heard that I had done it. And they started like trying to copy and paste stuff that I had done. And so it kind of spread a little bit. But as far as I know, I was the first one to make one of those, that concept. And like I said, I filed it in down at the local police department. It had all the terms and conditions of my domicile, what it took to come here to be able to enter the domicile for any reason, for anybody, and what would happen if you trespassed. If you tried to actually come in by force, what would happen? What could possibly happen to you, i.e. the price you would pay for doing that. And it was all in correct sentence structure, communication, parse, syntax, grammar. So it just basically said that we, as adults, mature, live life claimants, are more than qualified to make medical diagnosis about our own health. And folks, I have not gotten any sort of jab ever. Well, okay, I can't say ever. As a child, I had no choice. But in the last few years, no, I haven't. And neither did my wife. Neither did my kids, my children. And everybody is fine. And I can honestly say that anybody I know who didn't have that procedure done doesn't regret not having it done. But everybody that did have it done, 99% of them regret it. That I know. Except for the ones that didn't get their presidential selection, didn't have their presidential selection go their way. Those ones are still a little butthurt about it. But I digress. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any thoughts about this, go ahead and leave them in the comments. If you dare.